Mabry comes up with the board. Long pass, perfect to Reese. She was unable to get it in. Reese spinning, and as the shot clock expires, the ball goes out of bounds and it belongs to New York.
That's off all screen, so she's not getting any easy look.
Reese, short, inside, Cardozo, and Reese both frustrated.
Oh, and T-Spoon got teed up.
Angel Reese just had a game that's got WNBA fans scratching their heads. 12 points, 16 rebounds. Sounds good, right? Wrong. Her shooting was so off, it might have just cost the Chicago Sky their playoff dreams. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are celebrating. What happened on that court, and why is it shaking up the whole league? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video, particularly when it's as strange as this. One game has the power to alter everything. Imagine a player who leads her team in points scored, wins player of the game, and yet destroys her team's chances of making the playoffs. Greetings from Angel Reese's crazy voyage. Though it may seem like elite athletes are always on their game, Angel Reese's performance in this pivotal Chicago Sky game is about to change your perception of what constitutes a bad night. Let's dissect it. These figures will make your mind spin, I promise. Reese went 4 for 12 in the game's final quarter, shooting a pitiful 33.3% from the field. However, that isn't even the worst aspect. Her 8 layups were missed. 8th, Reese failed to convert on what is arguably the easiest basketball shot. It's like witnessing a chef burn toast. This just isn't how it should be done. Okay, but maybe the whole team was off their game. You may be asking yourself at this point, this is when things start to get interesting. Carmela Coso, Reese's colleague, was out there demonstrating how it's done when she was having trouble. In 7 less minutes than Reese, Coso scored 14 points on 5 of 6 field goals. Efficiency, huh? This is where things start to get strange. Angel Reese was named player of the game in spite of her difficulties. Yes, you did indeed hear that. Despite her team's loss, Reese received the nod with 12 points and 16 rebounds. It is comparable to awarding someone for playing in a championship game. There is a noticeable discrepancy between individual statistics and team performance. Although Reese's figures appeared impressive on paper, the Sky was unable to capitalize on them. Fans and experts are now doubting the team's overall approach. Do they play for enjoyment or merely to fill up stat sheets? Reese's performance may even be a sign of more serious issues with the Chicago Sky organization. According to some observers, Angel Reese desperately needs to have her ass in the gym working on layups, working on her short game, and she's not doing it. One insider said pulling no punches. Hurt. That's the kind of criticism that hurts, particularly when you're hoping to make the playoffs. The WNBA is an exciting journey, where a team's setback may sometimes be another's opportunity to win big. Let's introduce Caitlin Clark, the rookie who has been making waves this year. Could she, however, truly take advantage of the Sky's misfortune and steer the Fever toward their first postseason berth since 2016? You might be surprised by the response. While Caitlin Clark was busy fulfilling dreams for the Indiana Fever, Angel Reese was having a nightmare on the court when everyone believed Clark couldn't compete with the pros. Do you recall? She's about to disprove everyone in the most amazing way imaginable, though. Let's take a little look back. The Fever were in the hunt for a postseason berth prior to the Sky's collapse, and they were fighting it out tooth and nail. After missing out on postseason play since 2016, supporters were itching for something different. Let me introduce you to Caitlin Clark, the rookie star who has been dazzling fans and lighting up scoreboards all season long. Sure, she's good, but can one rookie really change a team's fate? Is probably what's on your mind right now. You better fasten your seatbelt because Clark did just that. While Clark was taking advantage of every opportunity that presented itself, Reese was missing layups left and right, comparable like observing a master at chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Clark not only performs well under pressure, but she loves it. She performs best when the stakes are high, and when the Sky missed their opportunity, Clark took over and guided the Fever to the much-desired postseason position. Making the appropriate plays at the appropriate times is just as important as making the perfect shots. Clark, too, she has that down to a fine art. This is where things become really fascinating though. Clark's influence extends far beyond his ability to win games. Let me tell you, she's easily won the title of Undisputed Rookie of the Year. This trophy represents more than just participation. It honors a player who is revolutionizing the game. Recognize how some newcomers need some time to get used to the pros, not Clark. She jumped right in and didn't turn around. To see how much more Clark affects the game, one source said, "You have to watch one Caitlin Clark game and one Angel Reese game. Stats are important, but so are presence, leadership, and the capacity to improve those around you." Let's now discuss the implications of this on the future of the Fever. Clark is the cornerstone around which they are constructing. She is not only a passing fad. With her in charge, the Fever are dreaming of titles rather than just making the playoffs. The rest of the league is struggling to keep up with them, as if they have discovered their secret weapon. The shocking thing is that Clark's achievement isn't isolated. The WNBA emphasizes connectivity above all else. When one team loses, another wins, and that's what Clark and the Fever did when the Sky gave them the chance. Clark just threw the first domino out of the domino effect. Consider it. We might be telling a different story if Reese had made those layups and the Sky had secured that postseason position. But the exciting thing about sports is that they're unpredictable. Clark exceeded everyone's expectations by leaping, soaring, and dunking on them. Clark's ascent to prominence is only part of the tale. Conversely, the Chicago Sky's prospects of making the playoffs have vanished. Is the Windy City experiencing a more ominous situation, or is this just a case of poor luck? Though Reese's odd night may have seemed like a one-time thing, the Sky's issues are more serious than you may have imagined. Let's examine the figures that actually illustrate this point in more detail. The latest record of the Sky, a pitiful 2-8 in their previous 10 games. That's a nosedive, not simply a dip. However, it goes beyond the setbacks. The topic is how they are losing. There's good basis for criticism of the Sky's coaching staff and overall game plan. When your team is disintegrating rapidly, you have to ask yourself if it's time for a top-level change. And let's discuss those most recent transactions. Do you recall when Marina Mabrey packed her suitcase? She took a bit of the team dynamic with her, in addition to her equipment. When Mabrey stated that the Sky lacked a coherent winning strategy, she didn't hold back. That's a focus on a larger issue, not simply shadow. Okay, but every team has rough patches. You might be asking yourself at this point, yes, but this goes beyond a simple fix. It's a serious crisis. Is it any wonder that the fans are upset? In recent drafts, they've witnessed talent after talent elude the Sky. It's like witnessing your preferred eatery turn a blind eye to a queue of elite cooks pounding on the door. This is where things become really fascinating though. There's a notion that suggests the Sky's problems aren't due to unluck. There's a method to this madness, some insiders whisper. With blunt criticism, one commenter said, "You cannot tell me the Angel Reese padding her stat situation is not calculated. The Sky is trying to manufacture a superstar and it's killing their team." Consider that for a moment. Are victories really that secondary to Sky's goal of becoming a star? They seem to be engaged in a game of chess while the rest of the league is engaged in basketball. And what do you know? It isn't functioning. What will come of all this drama? By math, the Chicago Sky are out of the running for the playoffs. That's a complete and utter disaster for a squad that was expected to be challenging for championships, not simply a letdown. What is the true narrative here then? Is the coaching inadequate? Inadequate handling of the roster? An absurd emphasis on personal numbers at the expense of group performance? In actuality, it's most likely a combination of these factors. There is more to the Sky's decline than just one poor performance or one player having trouble. From the front office all the way down to the court, it's about a squad that has lost its way. The worst part is that other clubs are winning while the Sky are losing ground. We've seen how the Fever and Caitlin Clark took advantage of this. The Sky recently lost its spot at the playoff table, and it feels like they are watching a game of musical chairs.